Ukraine is once again on edge. A devastating overnight attack by Russia has killed at least 8 civilians in the Ukrainian capital, including a 6-year-old boy and his mother. And now President Zelensky is not just asking for weapons or aid, he is calling for something far more serious. He wants a regime change in Russia. In fact, in the early hours of Thursday, missiles and drones tore through the skies over Kyiv. Over 300 drones, 8 cruise missiles were reportedly launched by Russia across Ukraine, most of them aimed at the capital.
When everyone was asleep, a missile struck. The entire building was practically destroyed. Some of the houses and some of the flats were burned down. It was a nightmare. I woke up to the sound of the missile striking and everything started falling on me. It was terrifying. Nothing remained of the flat, the walls were destroyed, and there were no partitions left.
I ran out. I found a blanket. It was covered in dust. I shook it out. I ran out wearing only a shirt. Thank God I met someone here. She saw that I was wearing only a shirt. She took me to her place. She gave me trousers and a jacket, and she gave me coffee.
A residential block in the city's western suburbs was reduced to rubble. Children, at least 9 of them, were among the dozens injured. One missile is said to have ripped through the front of a 9-story building, leaving belongings, concrete, bodies scattered in the debris. The overnight attack had caused damage in 27 locations across 4 districts of the Ukrainian capital. Kyiv residents took shelter in the metro while explosions rocked the capital all night overground. Footage also showed Ukrainian rescuers rescuing injured people from the apartment block hit in Russia's attack. As the sun rose, emergency crews were putting out fires, cutting through concrete blocks in search for survivors. In recent months, Russia has stepped up airstrikes on Ukrainian towns and cities that are far from the front line. Ukraine's president says that the world cannot afford to ignore this anymore. Speaking virtually at a conference marking 50 years since the Helsinki Accords, Zelensky said, and I'm quoting, "Russia can be pushed to end this war if the world does not aim to change the regime in Russia. Moscow will still try to destabilize its neighbors even after the war," quote unquote. And while the situation was unraveling in Kyiv, a different battle was playing out in the east. Russia now claims it has captured the town of Chasiv Yar in Donetsk. Chasiv Yar, just for context, has been a key military hub for Ukrainian forces. And control of the town would basically open up the path to major cities like Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, potentially crippling Ukrainian logistics in the east. But Ukraine is pushing back, calling Russia's claim a lie. They say that intense fighting is still underway with forested terrain and urban ruins favoring the defenders. And as Russia tightens its grip on Ukraine's east, political pressure on Moscow is mounting in the west. US President Donald Trump has issued a 10-day ultimatum to the Russian president: end the war or face sweeping sanctions next week. Russia is shrugging off warnings from Washington as of now. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says Moscow is used to Western pressure. In fact, he said that Russia has been living under a huge number of sanctions for quite a long time, and that the Kremlin will not be swayed by threats. So what's the message from Moscow really? Pressure will not end the war. But Ukraine is not waiting anymore. Ukraine's foreign minister posted on social media, I'm quoting, "It's time to make Putin feel the pain. Maximum pressure must be applied," quote unquote. US President Donald Trump once again attacked India-Russia ties in a social media post after announcing the 25% tariff on Indian goods imports effective from Friday. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said he did not care what India does with Russia, quote unquote. He added, "They can take their dead economies down together for all I care," quote unquote. However, his claims are far from the reality. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world and is expected to be the bright light for this year and next. Earlier this year, India displaced Japan to become the world's fourth largest economy.
It is also widely expected that we will become the third largest economy in a few years. Today, international institutions and economists see India as the bright spot in the global economy. India is contributing to almost 16% of global growth.
This week, the International Monetary Fund upgraded its outlook for the Indian economy for this year and next. India is expected to grow at a healthy rate of 6.4% this fiscal year and next. And that is more than double the global average. The fund also raised its projections for emerging markets to 4.1%. The IMF credits this to better than expected activity in early 2025 and a significant reduction in the US-China tariffs. And based on those projections, India is expected to outpace US economic growth comfortably. And that triggers questions regarding Trump's claims of India being a quote-unquote dead economy. And the IMF, by the way, also highlighted persistent risks, especially from Trump's trade policies. The US has pushed its effective tariff rate to 17.3%, far above the global average of 3.5%. Though some hikes have been delayed, US growth for 2025 is now seen at 1.9%, up from 1.8% previously. But inflation is expected to stay above target due to delayed price effects from tariffs. And the Eurozone outlook has improved slightly to 1%, while Russia's forecast was downgraded to 0.9% on weaker oil prices. Significantly, the IMF warns that continued uncertainty, higher tariffs and geopolitical tensions could undermine future growth momentum. Afghanistan's Taliban regime has started sending Afghan workers to Qatar in a move aimed at easing unemployment in Afghanistan. In fact, talks are also underway with other countries like Saudi Arabia, Oman, Turkey and Russia to send more Afghan workers overseas. The first batch includes at least 2,000 skilled workers. These include people trained in hospitality, food services and engineering. They will be working in Qatar under a new job program. According to the Taliban's labor ministry, Afghanistan has signed a deal with a Qatari government-owned company.
For now, an understanding has been reached with the private sector and an agreement has been signed with a Qatari state-owned company. In the first phase, 2,000 job opportunities were mentioned, but fortunately, 1,100 more job opportunities were added yesterday. This means that 3,100 people will be given a job.
This new job drive comes at a particularly difficult time for Afghanistan. Over 1.5 million Afghans have been forced to return home from countries like Iran and Pakistan, and many of them came back without jobs or money. The economy in Afghanistan remains weak. Aid agencies saying basic services are under stress. There's also a drop in money sent home by Afghans working abroad, which is used to help many families. Outside many registration centers, long lines of hopeful workers are forming up.
I am a civil engineer. I went to Pakistan for work as well, but I couldn't find a reasonable job and came back to Afghanistan. It seems that everyone is poor and jobless. We found out that the government is sending people to Qatar for work, so we want to go there for work, and we are requesting the government send us there for work so we can earn money to feed our children.
Only Russia officially recognizes the Taliban as Afghanistan's government. However, countries like Qatar, Turkey, others still keep diplomatic contacts with Kabul. Qatar plays an important role, in fact, in Afghanistan's recent history. It hosted peace talks, remember, between the Taliban and the US before foreign troops withdrew in 2021. And Qatar also helped evacuate people during the US exit from Kabul. Back in 2023, the Taliban chief met with Qatar's Prime Minister in Kandahar. It was the first time Akhundzada was seen meeting a foreign official in public. But life in Afghanistan remains very hard. Many people rely on international aid just to survive, with foreign donations going down, health and education services shrinking fast. Our next story is about a study which basically throws up a crucial link between a type of HPV and skin cancer. HPV, as you may be aware, is a common viral infection that can cause certain types of cancer. And now a study finds that a type of HPV may cause skin cancer in those with weakened immune systems. Just to break this down for you, it's a type of HPV that's regularly found on the skin. Also, in case you're not aware, skin cancer is caused by DNA damage in the skin cells. And a significant source of this is ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So what's HPV then got to do with this? Basically, it can help UV damaged DNA build up in the cells and turn cancerous. And now, as per the research, doctors found that the virus itself could cause cancerous lesions to form. Basically, the type of HPV was earlier thought to only contribute to skin cancer, and now, as per the research, it can directly cause it. According to a senior author of the study, the virus replicated in a somewhat uncontrolled manner and ended up integrating into the skin cells. And once they did that, they became cancerous. The case report was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. And this is a crucial milestone in our understanding of HPV, skin cancer, and in the overall journey to safeguard and protect ourselves and stay healthy and prioritize our well-being.